the first time I met him would have been when I was a novice, which was at Huntington. And I don't have memories of real close contact with him, even to sit down, with him. But he was a member of the professed community, and we didn't have much relationship with them, except like the novice master and those and directly connected with us. But we went to prayer together, went to Mass together, and at times he would have his turn to be the celebrant of the Mass, the presider at the Mass. And so we had that experience of him, certainly as a very devout person, he was. And one of my memories of him presiding at Eucharist was, I forget the exact scripture, what it was, but you could tell his devotion, he was very devout. Well, that he would be at prayer off of the side of the sanctuary. There was like a little side chapel, and he would often pray in there. And we didn't usually have to go through that chapel, but especially after dark, we would be careful that, because he might be in there lying on the ground, on the floor, in praying to the Lord in the tabernacle that was out there. So that was a sign. But one experience I do have of him at that time, when I was on the staff, I was also an ordained priest. That was my first assignment, and so it was my first experience of going on help-outs, because the guardian would assign us, if we had the time, to go on help-out on a Sunday for Mass. Well, when this pastor personally drove me back to St. Felix after the help-out, I said, "Oh, have you ever visited there? Have you ever been inside?" He thought maybe he might be curious. So, no. He says, "Well, why don't you come in with me?" But I was kind of shy, I guess, So I said, "Just wait here." So I got Father Clement, who was our guardian, and said, "Well, Father would like to see the." So Father Clement took him around. But that evening at recreation, I was sitting close to Father Solanus in the recreation room, and Father Clement came in. He says, "Solanus, when you have a guest, you should entertain him." Well, it wasn't meant for Father Solanus. It was meant to give a message to me. And ordinarily, someone who was addressed that way, "Well, what do you mean? I wasn't there." No, he just said, "Oh, yes, okay." So he accepted that. He didn't try to defend himself, So that is one of my remembrances. Also, I think it was a novice more that Father Solanus would go out into the orchard. We had an orchard on the grounds there. It was St. Felix and Huntington, and he would sometimes visit the beehives. There were beehives there. And they tell of Father Solanus one time walking from one beehive to the other with a bee on his hand, and talking to it as he went along. They just sort of showed the simplicity in a good sense, of Father Solanus.